So, naprapathic medicine, our founder, Dr. Oakley Smith, who founded the profession in 1905 in Iowa, moved to Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, started his school here in 1908. And let's move down the timeline a little bit and let's talk about the licensure of Doctor of Naprapathy and some of the recognitions that it's had. And in history, it has said that naprapaths were once part of the medical Practice Act of Illinois. Can you speak to that for a
Yes. Well, in 1905, yes, Dr. Oakley Smith says that's the official beginning of naprapathy. He makes that claim. But in that time, 1905, he was not establishing a separate, distinct profession called naprapathic medicine or naprapathy. That really didn't come about until 1908. So in 1905, he would have considered himself a type of, still a chiropractor. And based on his book of 1906, he would have called himself a modernized chiropractor. But in 1904, the state of Illinois was offering a license called Other Practitioner. That was based on the 1898 Medical Practice Act of the state of Illinois. So in 1904, interestingly enough, Dr. Oakley Smith, along with Dr. Sloan Langworthy and along with Dr. Menora Paxson, traveled to Chicago and did get licenses as other practitioners under the Illinois Medical Practice Act of 1898. So that they were able to practice, technically speaking, under the Illinois Medical Practice Act, under this title, Other Practitioner. And then the state of Illinois did change its Medical Practice Act, and around the late 1980s, and basically eliminated the concept of other practitioners. So this led to a crisis that lasted for about 3 years, resulting in naprapathic doctors convincing the state of Illinois to come up with a specific Practice Act for naprapaths, so the Illinois Naprapathic Practice Act, which came into existence around 1991.
Wow. Okay. And by any chance, do you know any people specifically that were behind the push for the NPA?
Well, yes, a number of those individuals we do know. Those who fought, especially in Springfield, to do their best to bring about something that ended up being called the Illinois Naprapathic Practice Act. So people like Dr. Paul McGuire, for instance, was a key leader, key organizer. Dr. Ted Rapez, and so many of them who are still with us, and hopefully they can be interviewed as well, in terms of what they had to do to work with the Illinois legislature. And so one key member of the Illinois legislature, who turned out to be a great supporter, would have been Representative Dan Burke, who he was one of the key sponsors of that early Illinois Naprapathic Practice Act. And I believe he just retired from the legislature. I think he retired just a few months ago. But so some of the key people, whether they be naprapathic doctors, whether they be key legislators such as Representative Dan Burke. So hopefully they can be interviewed to tell their stories and how it worked. And for them, especially, how very curious to find out the story of Representative Dan Burke, how he discovered naturopathic medicine. Why did he become such a great supporter? So I'd be very curious to hear his story.
Okay.